Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amin bin Adumaimi. Today I want to talk about introduce to the microeconomic and macroeconomics. Microeconomics focus on individual economics such as firm, household, worker and industries. So microeconomics focus to how they make decision regarding our resource allocation and how their behavior to will affect to the supply and demand in specific market. However, macroeconomics is focused on economic as a whole and aggregate such as national income, inflation, economic growth, and more than that. So microeconomics is more to study about how that phenomena happen will affect the entire nation, entire industries, region, or entire nation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Next, I will be talking about inflation and then exploring it in a way of Islamic perspective. So, the first part is understanding inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is when the price of goods or services increase over time. This means that the money lose some of its value and can buy less more than before. For example, if a cup of coffee does price 2 ringgit for this year and it will be cost 4 ringgit for the next year, that's what we call as inflation. Next, there are two common ways to measure the inflation. The first one is Consumer Price Index, or what we call as CPI. This measures the average change in price over time that consumer pay for a basket of goods and services. And the second one is Producer Price Index, or what we call as PPI. This measures the average change in selling price received by domestic producer of their output. Next, inflation can happen for several reasons. It can be the demand pull inflation, and it can be the cost push inflation, and it can be the expanding the money supply. So, does inflation always bad? Actually, it is not necessarily, because a small amount of inflation is normal and can be a sign of a growing economy. It encourages spending and investment because people expect prices to be higher in the future. However, too much inflation can reduce the value of savings and make it hard to plan for the future, and it will cause the economic problems. Okay, so understanding inflation can help us to make a better decision financial in the future. Next, I would like to talk the inflation, but in a way of Islamic perspective. I will highlight there are two types of Islamic perspective. The first one is natural inflation. It is caused by events that we cannot control, like droughts or floods. These natural events can make goods and services more expensive. And the second one is human error inflation. It happens because of the mistakes or bad actions by people. There are different types of this human error inflation. The first one is betrayal of confidence. This happens when people measure trust. For example, if a shopkeeper unfairly raises price, it will cause inflation. The second one is official corruptions. When the government officials are dishonest, like taking bribes, it can lead to the inflation. Their actions make the economy unstable and the prices will go up. And the third one is inadequate management. Poor management or bad decisions by leaders can also cause the inflation. If resources are not managed well, it can lead to the higher cost. And the last one is increasing foreign exchange flow. Too much foreign money in our economy can cause inflation. It can disrupt the balance and make local goods more expensive. In conclusion, inflation can be natural or caused by human errors. Islam teaches us to be honest, to be trustworthy, and manage the resources well to keep the economy stable. During the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people used dinars and dirhams as money. These coins were made of gold and silver, which had inherent value and prevented from significant depreciation. During the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's times, inflation was minimal. This was because people follow Islamic teachings and consume only what they need and avoided the extravagance. This helped keep the prices stable. The Quran and Hadith discourage excessive desires and emphasize ethical economic behavior. By focusing on moderation and honesty, they help maintain a stable economy. In summary, inflation was low during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam due to the inherent value of the currency and adherence to Islamic principles. These teachings on moderation and ethical behaviors are timeless and help keep the economy stable.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Aiman bin Khairul, metric number 299902. I will present about the causes of inflation. Firstly, demand pull inflation. How? Because high consumer demand, increased demand for goods, service, surpasses supply. Number 2, full utilization of labor force. Economy grows beyond long-term strength with abundant money supply and limited commodities. And third, developing economy. Financial confidence lead to more spending and loans, increasing demand. Causes of inflation. Number 2 is about the cost push inflation. How? Because the wage push inflation. Higher wage and raw material costs lead to increased price. Number 2, higher labor costs. Increased minimum wage of employees. And number 3, natural disaster. Unpredictable event cause unexpected price hikes. And finally, cost of inflation. Number 3 is about the built-in inflation. How? How? Because the expectation of rising prices. People demand higher wage, anticipating inflation. Higher wage increase wage lead to higher business costs passed on the consumer. Thank you. Assalamualaikum. I will to continue about my present is effect of inflation. Firstly, effect of inflation is about the increased price. First, general price level, continuous rise in price, and number 2, cost of living. Higher price reduce purchasing power, affecting community welfare. Effect of inflation number 2 is about the effect on income. First, real income decline. Inflation reduces the real purchasing power of income. And number 2, living standard. Higher cost of goods services decrease. Standard of living as purchasing power diminish. Effect of number 3 is about the impact on saving. Saving reduction. Increased living cost lead to reduced saving. And number 2, emergency fund. Higher expenses force people to dip into saving. Finally, effect of inflation number 4 is about the unemployment. Positive effect. Moderate inflation can reduce employment rates. Increase production, first boost production to meet demand, leading to higher employment. And thank you.
There are few ways to overcome the inflation in a practice Islamic. First, we should get rid of the riba system because it increases the cost of financing, increase the price of product and contribute to inflation. This riba also lead to the evil of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala because Allah had mentioned the prohibition of riba and the badness of riba in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 278 and verse 279. Another way that can overcome inflation is banning imported goods if there are enough locally.
In this way, we can limit excess supply in the market to stabilize price. In addition, we can encourage local consumption by increasing the demand for local products, supporting domestic production. A good example done by Khalid Umar Al-Khattab is prohibiting the purchase of commodity goods for 2 days to stabilize the price. We'll also need to apply zakat in the financial system. One of the reasons is that zakat can purify our property because there's other property in our income in Islam. This will have a positive effect on community behavior by redistributing wealth. In addition, the application of zakat in the financial system can encourage investment by promoting growth instead of hiding wealth. Zakat also needs to be practiced for the sake and benefit of Surah at Tawbah verse 103. Last but not least, we need to encourage gold investment among consumers. This is because gold has a high and equal asset value even in the inflationary condition. This encourages consumers to invest in gold. Thank you. In conclusion, inflation is an increase in price that causes purchasing power to decrease from time to time. Therefore, the government should always find ways to always control inflation through monetary policy, because inflation is one of the most important indicators to determine the extent to which a country's economic strength can be mobilized to develop the country and improve the standard of living in a better direction. From an Islamic perspective, as Muslims, we should strive to develop Islamic countries by contributing as much as we can to the national economy so that the profit growth can be used to spread Islam and advance Muslims themselves. Thank you.